The land has such an iconic smell when you come inside. Imagine it has a lot to do with the Seasons Court over there. Uh-oh, if it's closing, I better get in line. Well, I wasn't planning on it, but I love this ride, and it's about to close, so might as well get on it. Which one? As if the impromptu Living with the Land passage couldn't get any better, we're going to be up front. Unobstructed view. I like that.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy living with the land.
This is the most underrated attraction in all of Walt Disney World. Just a lot of nice sort of, scenic set pieces as we go through the... It's kind of a ride 2 in 1. You start with this first part of sort of like scenic set pieces as you go through, a thunderstorm, and you'll go through, the homeland, the farmland, and the desert, and just, real quaint, tranquil boat ride that it feels like a lot of people are skipping. And it's just beautiful, it's relaxing, it's calming. It should be essential. It should be required in a day at Epcot. And honestly, I hope it never goes away.
The surface of the land brings trapped water from the flowing mud, extracting precious nutrients and minerals. These elements, combined with sunlight, create the diverse living systems. One of those living systems is the rainforest, home to the most amazing concentration of life on our planet. These dense and beautiful forests cover only a tiny portion of the Earth's surface.
And you can see the garden grill up at the top there. So that's a perk of eating at the garden grill. You get to come and watch this beautiful set piece down here, the rainforest.
Oxygen, food, medicine, and everything is essential to our lives.
Gators, a couple of monkeys, parrots, and fine diners.
In the desert, nature has created a very different, but no less beautiful living system. And while this arid landscape may seem lifeless, it is very much alive. The plants and animals that have learned to survive in these harsh conditions make you...
So we're coming up upon the prairie scene. We have the little prairie dogs here and the buffalo behind. These buffalo here were not actually made for this attraction. They were made for the unfinished ride, the Western River Expedition. A ride that was originally planned for Magic Kingdom, but was replaced as people preferred to have Pirates of the Caribbean. As budget constraints allowed them to only pick one. And so they picked what the people wanted. Pirates of the Caribbean. So there's more diners upstairs. This ride is almost therapeutic. It's so nice. It's nicely AC'd. Man, I love living with the land. Top 5 Epcot for sure. For sure.
Enrich the soil without the use of chemicals. In arid regions, we're learning to notice
And so I said it was like a two-part ride. So you got the beginning sort of dark ride aspect, and then you come to the actual in-action, the Production and Research Center, which is essentially a tour through the greenhouse on the top of the land pavilion.
Growing needs for food production, yet still respect the needs of the land. Some of the answers are being discovered just ahead. To help us maintain these carefully controlled...
I've always wanted to come in here at night, but it looks, I don't know if it's normal that they close it at 7. It always seems to be closed every time we come in the evening, but it would be fun to experience this portion of the ride at night as we see all the various things they're growing in one controlled environment. This is one of the closest things to the original idea of Epcot as edutainment, as a learning, sort of as a tool for learning, using entertainment as a tool for learning.
Welcome to our living laboratory, where scientists from Epcot and the U.S. Department of Agriculture are exploring innovative ways to produce bountiful harvests now and into the future.
They should just call this ride Serenity.
The tropics are home to the greatest diversity of plants on the planet. Many of these, like papaya, bananas, cacao, coffee, and rice, are well known around the world. These are just a few of the edible plants that have been an important source of nutrition for people living in the tropics. Many are rich in vitamins and minerals, while others are
hidden Mickey against the falls
less
there.
than ideal conditions. Some, like the water lily, thrive in wet, swampy areas and waterways. All parts of this plant, even the flower petals, are edible. The starchy root of
I
the
wish
plant
this went from here to Los Angeles so I could ride it slowly at this pace and make it all the way to Disneyland.
One day,
And there's different signs up here for the Food and Wine Festival that show that all this is being grown to be used in the parks. We're coming upon the hatchery part where they're hatching the fish. We got sturgeon and tilapia on this side. I love fish tanks, but there's something slightly morbid about these ones. Still incredibly fascinating. Aquatic farming.
when you mention farming, you probably don't think of fish, but fish farming or aquaculture. Consuming gold, tilapia, bass, and catfish like the ones you see here are three of the more popular crops raised by fish farmers. The sustainable system you're using here...
I think that's another hidden Mickey there.
As a result, we're able to save millions of gallons each year. Our small fish farm produces nearly 5,000 pounds of fish each year to serve in restaurants around Walt Disney World. Innovations like this one can play an important role in our efforts to produce bountiful
Them schooling down there.
and still
That's awesome.
protect natural resources.
Swimming in a circle. Another hidden Mickey there. Not very hidden in here. Almost deliberate.
While there are more than common grains growing here, wheat, maize, sorghum, and millet, plus rice, account for nearly 2/3 of our global food consumption. These plants are definitely on their way up. Innovative growing techniques like these increase yields while more efficiently using resources like water, fertilizer, and pesticides. Another innovation at work here is our integrated pest management program. By populating our greenhouses with beneficial insects that prey on harmful pests like aphid water and nutrients. With it, we can produce over 27,000 heads of lettuce a year in this one small area. Some of our best ideas have been inspired by nature, like these fruit and vegetable trees. By growing these ground plants vertically, we can increase yields and better control diseases. These crops taste as good as they look.
You notice there's a lot of ventilation as we go in through here. You can see the leaves are constantly moving. And that's something they discovered in the earlier stages of this. When they were in here, they were finding that all the plants they were growing were growing really weakly. And that's because they were grown in this controlled environment. They weren't able to grow. They weren't able to grow to their natural strength because they were not being affected by the wind that was outside. And so now they have that simulated wind so that the plants can grow strong. They can get that strength that they would if they were growing outside.
Another great way to produce more while using less.
So another plus for the ride is that it's extremely air-conditioned, very cool, very breezy.
The goal of these efforts is to...
And that was Living with the Land.
Please remain behind the yellow line until